And welcome once again to another edition of Jay's Retro Toys and Games. I'm your host, Jason DeCanio, and we're still in Season 2 and doing fantastic. Hope you're having a great time. We hope you had a fantastic weekend. It's episode 58, and tonight on this April 26th, 2023 edition, we're going to be looking at a game. Yes, this game is based on 2 to 4 players. It's a tile-based game, combining elements of the card game of Rummy and MAHJONG. There are 106 tiles in the game, including 104 numbered tiles, valued 1 to 13, in 4 different colors, 2 copies of each, and 2 jokers. Now, players have 14 or 16 tiles initially and take turns putting down tiles from their racks into sets, groups or runs of at least 3, drawing a tile if they cannot play. In the Sabra version, the most common and popular, the first player to use all their tiles scores a positive score based on the total of the other player's hands, while the losers get negative scores. And there's also variations of this game, which contains 4 jokers. An important feature of the game is that the players can move and edit the tiles that have already been placed on the table. Tonight, looking at Rummikub on this edition of Jay's Retro Toys and Games. This edition of Jay's Retro Toys and Games. I'm your host, Jason DeCanio. Episode 58 is happening right now, and we hope that you had a fantastic weekend. I know I did, but we have a lot to cover in this show tonight, so we're going to take care of that right now and bring you to the game of Rummikub, and we're going to look at the history and look at all the fantastic stuff that's going on with this interesting game that's been around since the 1940s. And it was invented by Ephraim Herzano. He's a Romanian-born Jew who emigrated to mandatory Palestine in the 1940s. He handmade the first sets with his family in the backyard of his home. Herzano sold these sets door to door and on a consignment basis at small shops. Now, over the years, the family licensed it to other countries, and it became Israel's best-selling export game. In the 1970s, it was brought to the United States by Irv and Arlen Kossoff to sell in their New York's gifts, games, and luggage store. Arlen translated the rules from Hebrew to English, and by 1977, it became a best-selling game in the United States. The game was marketed as Rummikub during part of the 1970s. Herzano's official Rummikub book, published in 1978, describes 3 different versions of the game: the American, Sabra, and International. Modern Rummikub sets include only the Sabra version rules with no mention of the others, and there are variations in the rules between publishers. The game was first made by Lamada Lighthouse Industries Ltd., founded by Herzano in 1978. Rummikub is similar to several Central European card games, which are played with 2 decks of playing cards, including Machiavelli and Vidicon. Vidicon is played with 2 decks of cards and 1 joker per player, thus making 106 cards for 2 players. And in Turkey, the game is known as Oki and is widely played by families at gatherings or at local cafes. Rummikub's main component is a pool of tiles consisting of 104 number tiles and 2 joker tiles. The number tiles range in value from 1 to 13 in 4 colors: blue, red, yellow, and black. and each combination of color and number is represented twice. Now, players each have a rack to store tiles without revealing the face of the tiles to the other players. The following explanation is based on the rules in the 1998 Pressman American edition. So tiles are shuffled together and either placed into a bag or spread out face down across the table. Now, each player draws and reveals one tile. The player whose tile has the highest number value will start the game. Tiles are returned to the pool, and players collect 14 random tiles and arrange them on their racks. Play begins with the starting player and proceeds in a clockwise from modern variants direction. For the first player's move, they must play a set or sets in some versions with a value of at least 30 points. Point values are taken from the face value of each tile played, with the joker if played, assuming that the value of the tile is being used in place of. So a player may not use other players' tiles to make the initial meld. Now, if a player cannot make an initial meld, they must pick up a single tile from the pool and add it to their rack. Play then proceeds to the next player. And once a player has made their initial meld, they can, on a separate turn, play one or more tiles from their rack, making or adding to groups and or runs. If the player cannot or chooses not to play any tiles, they must pick up a tile randomly from the pool and add it to their rack. Players may not make their initial meld and, along with that, play on groups and runs during the same turn. You can play on runs and groups after the turn of making the initial meld. And players may play tiles by amending sets already in play. The only limit to the length of a run is the extremes of the tile values. Groups are limited to 4 because colors may not repeat within a group. All tiles in play must be arranged in sets of at least 3. The 2 valid set types are called runs and groups. A run is composed of 3 or more same color tiles in consecutive number order. A 1 may not follow a 13. So your example run is 9, 10, 11, 12 in the red. A group is made from 3 or 4 same value tiles in distinct colors. For example, red 3, blue 3, black 3, and yellow 3. So the sample group they give is 3 7s in blue, red, and yellow. There are some invalid sets because, number 1, they're not consecutive. So you have 1, 2, 4, can't have that. Invalid because the number in a run must all be the same color. The 1, 2, 3, the 3 is in red, so that's invalid. Invalid because colors may not repeat in the group. 1, 1, 1, you can't have two blue ones and a red. Can't do that. Tiles already outplayed. Example play 3, 4, 5. Own tiles 2, 5, 5. The recombined result 2, 3, 4 in red and a 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 in blue, yellow, and red. So manipulating the existing tiles, and during a player's turn, sets of tiles that have already been played may be manipulated to allow more tiles to be played, and at the end of the turn, all played tiles must be invalid sets. Players may add the appropriate tile to either end of a run or remove a tile from the other end for use elsewhere. If red 3, 4, and 5 have already been played, a player may add the red 6 to the end and remove the 3 for use elsewhere. You can also split a run. Players may split long runs and insert the corresponding tiles in the middle. Thus, if blue 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are already on a run, the player may insert their own 8 to make 2 runs, 6, 7, 8, and 8, 9, and 10. Players may replace any of the tiles in a 3-tile group with a tile of the 4th color of the same value. If blue 6, red 6, yellow 6 are already in a group, the player may add the black 6 and remove any one of the other 3 for use elsewhere. So long as the remaining tiles form a valid run, tiles can be removed from the ends of the runs, and any one tile may be removed from a 4-tile group. Now, a joker may not be retrieved before the initial meld. A joker can be retrieved from a set by replacing it with a tile of the same numerical value and color it represents. The tile used to replace the joker can come from the player's rack or from the table. Now, in the case of a group of 3, the joker can be replaced by the tile of either of the missing colors. A joker that has been replaced must be used in the player's same turn as part of a new set. And a set containing a joker can have tiles added to it, be split apart, or have tiles removed from it. The joker can be moved or replaced in any possible way as long as you maintain a set of at least 3 tiles. The joker has a penalty value of 30 points if it remains on a player's rack at the end of the game. Now, in the course of a turn, a tile that is harvested from an existing set must be played during the turn. It cannot be kept for later use. So, for example, if there's a 3, 4, 5 run on the table, the 3 can be harvested by putting down the appropriate colored 6, but the 3 must be used during that turn, not kept in the player's hand for later use. Once a winner has been declared, the losing players must add up the values of the tiles remaining in their racks, their score for the game. The joker has a penalty value of 30, and a player's score for the game is subtracted from their current cumulative score. Once calculated, each of the losing players' scores for the game is added to the winner's current cumulative score. For example, suppose in a game, player A wins, player B has a score of 5, and player C has a score of 10, and player D has a score of 3. Player A will now have a cumulative score of 18. Player B will be minus 5, player C will be minus 10, and player D will be minus 3. Should the game result in no winner, the player with the lowest number of tiles in their rack is the winner. Scoring is then carried out in the normal manner. And if one person never had the required points to make a meld and the game is over, their points are added to the score of each of the other players. The person with the fewest points is the winner. Now, gameplay continues until a player has used all of the tiles in the rack, at which point they should call out Rummikub and are declared the winner. If the pool runs out of tiles, play continues until there is a winner or no player can make a valid play. There are rule variations. Draw 2. When you cannot or do not want to add a tile, you can draw from the pool. To draw, pick up 2 tiles, discard 1 to the river, and place the other on your rack, ending your turn. The river is a row of tiles discarded during a draw. They must be kept in order of discard. And the other one is the pull from the river. When you want a particular tile from the river, you must pick up all the tiles preceding it. Tiles are added to the river from left to right. So the oldest tile is to the far left, and the newest is to the far right. The oldest tile that you pick up in the river is the key tile and must be played during that turn. The remaining tiles pulled from the river are called the plunder. All of the plunder tiles must be placed on your rack and cannot be used this turn. Once you play the key tile, your turn is over, and you can use any tiles already on your rack in order to use the key tile. Games Magazine included the game as Rummy O in their top 100 games of 1980, noting the appeal of playing with tiles rather than cards for the sound of snapping them onto the table when making a strong play. They won some awards from German, the Dutch, and the Polish Game of the Year in 1980 to 83. And there's also Israeli Inventions and Discoveries and Oki as well. And there you have it, folks. A very simple but brief explanation of one of the games that started out in the 40s, came over here in 1977, and today is still being played. Rummikub. Great game, wonderful history, and we gave it to you here on episode 58 of Jay's Retro Toys and Games. Next time on the program, we'll look at another game on Friday, and with that, what's the next game that we're going to be looking at? Let's see. Haven't really thought of anything that might be of interest to you. When it comes to toys and games, we pretty much have a running idea of what we're going to be looking at. But in this case, because we didn't have anything planned for Friday, we will now. So let's see. We looked at Rummikub. We haven't looked at any card games yet. So what we're going to do, since this game was based on Gin Rummy, we'll look next week, or this Friday coming up, at Gin Rummy, the two-player card game, and look at its very interesting history and rules and scoring and variations that can go on and on and on. And we might start our games of card games with Gin Rummy on this Friday edition of episode 59 of Jay's Retro Toys and Games. I'm Jason Icanio, thanking you very much for this edition. We hope that you had a fantastic time with us this evening, and we look forward to presenting Gin Rummy to you on Friday. And we hope that also, too, you will continue to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already still, and continue to support it in many ways. We hope that you had a fantastic time. And remember, folks, be honest, be real, and keep it simple, stupid. Yes. We'll see you on Friday. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Democracy Network for great more content like this one.